not yet. And I think there's still a lot of dependence on what would come from the global north, in terms of mitigating some of the impacts of climate change. There's been no significant investments. The only change I'm seeing is in the green bond market. There's been a sparse interest across Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria, South Africa, to tap into a green bond market, which means we're borrowing and warehousing such funds for climate smart or green energy or sustainable frameworks. I mean, that's sort of things that we want to do. I think that would take it as a step forward. But in terms of even government putting much more finance in terms of, from its treasury on climate change, I've not seen significant investment in things like that. There's still a bit of externalization that we have when it comes to climate change, that some of our funding and some of the support will come from developed countries, which is fair, I mean, to some extent, because they've had an unequal share, in terms of pollution, or maybe an outside share type of pollution. So they should pay for part of the problem. But what I would say is that also African government countries have to show responsibility. And how do they build resilient systems against mitigating against climate change? And how do they also spawn innovation from their countries respectively? Because it seems that the waiting game for the global north in terms of financing climate change is fraught with so many complexities and geopolitical risk. I mean, today we're going to be, maybe when we're in COP meetings, and there's a lot of expectations like what we had from the Paris Accords. The compliance levels are still very low. Some of them are not still hinged on being voluntary and things like that. So, like I mentioned, with the exception of the EU as one that's to some extent matched is talk, in all of these conversations. So for me, I think, but if you look at it clearly, even in terms of engaging and participating in the global spectrum, Africa still gets around less than 11%, of what's been traded in the voluntary carbon credit market. So there's a need to quickly develop a framework from an organized perspective for Africa to get more from the environment. Because we talk about Latin America, we could talk about South Asia, we have places where you also have huge climate change impact, but Africa also is right there at the top, in terms of different spaces where climate change impact has dampened this opportunity and also made life much more worse for people. So for me, I think Africa needs to step up. And stepping up means that we are more coherent and we're more clear about what we need. And we're also investing domestically in some of these initiatives too. Yeah.